Hey guys. So I was on my live maybe a couple of days ago, day and a half, lost track of time, and I'd had mentioned even maybe days before that on live that about not trying to take away from Canelo's great feats, but also seeing it for what it is, and Canelo being able to have fought, not his fault, champions that were weak, champions that had really not done anything, champions like Billy Joe Saunders was like undefeated, but way better at 160 his resume than at 168, hadn't done anything. I remember I saw him fight, what was his name? Martin, forget the ex-champ, Dave Lemieux. Chris Eubank after that fight. I forget his surname. It's just annoying me. You know, Chris Eubank Jr., Dave Lemieux, you know. And then you've got Billy Joe Saunders, Fagan Butts, the other Caleb, Truax. No one of note. Then you've got Callum Smith. Who was Callum Smith's win? Who was Callum Smith's win? John Ryder, George Groves, Rocky Fielding, who Canelo beat as well. I mean, no disrespect, very weak resumes from all of the lads, and they was all undefeated, but they hadn't fought anybody, to be fair. So Canelo's 168 run looked impeccable, and it's still a great feat. But what this loss has shown me, it's focused me on, you know, Canelo's beaten champs that are not really champs. And that how they was going to rob Bivol. Rob. So this is what one of my colleagues had to say on my show. Shouts out to AJ all day. Stand by.
And I'm trying not to be on Canelo's neck as such. You know why? And a little bit of me is on his neck because I don't appreciate the fact that he thinks he won the fucking fight. Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
You didn't win. How dare you say that? That dude won no more than four or 5 rounds max. No, dude, you won 3 rounds and people possibly may give you 4. I see people give you 2 rounds. And he was adamant about that. Yeah, I think I win the fight. You didn't. And you looked like your face was that post-fight presser, like the face of a slapped ass, right? With your aviators on, looking like a fucking sore loser, throwing out your little toys at the pram, but saying that, you know, you take no excuses, but yet you think you won the fight. I hope Saul has woken up, you know, and watched this fight back and realized, you know, I didn't win the fight, and, you know, that's it.
Chan,
because otherwise I'm going to gun for him, and we're going to have to keep the same energy, because when it was Wilder doing that, you wanted me to gun for him, and I did. When it was Dillian White that came out with his one little excuse about his head bouncing off the canvas, I went for him, and you guys was like, yeah, cool, we haven't heard Dillian White come out with nothing else. Shouts out to Dill. When we heard Teofimo Lopez chat shit and talk about he won the fights 10-3, I didn't know there was a 13th round, but we went for him, and we are still killing him to this day. Yeah, so we have to keep the same energy, because Canelo is not above reproach round here. Yeah, so steadfast, guys, because we're gonna have to see where Canelo goes. Right now, he's in the place of denial, and it doesn't look like it's Egypt. It's que onda, orale.
Is Chan like? So you at? Yeah. Oh, so what's that? Sorry, hold on. One thing I just wanted to add is like, he's in denial right now. Obviously, I think
where you could go. Yes, I do think there was cases of ducking in his career, i.e. Andrade. Yes, I do. And there's evidence to prove that. You know, Did you dare to be great? Have you made history? Yes, and I appreciate that. But did you, now that we see, levels of boxers, we see that you are pretty one-sided and you can't beat a pure boxer that has speed, power. That I've always said that's Canelo's kryptonite. I said that leading up and into this fight. I said anybody that beats or gives Canelo problems, they have to have speed and power and footwork. Because if you don't have the power, he'll walk through you. If you don't have the footwork, he still, even though he's flat-footed, he'll know how to cut off the ring and get to you. And now we've seen it. And the champions that he beat at 168, and I'm British and I don't have the cap. Billy Joe Saunders, I said, well, his belt's going. Callum Smith, well, his belt's going. Caleb Plant, well, his belt's going. It's quite easy. They weren't really the greatest champions. They were champions in a weak division. Would you agree with me, my fellow Brit?
No, you can't say that about.
They weren't proven. You can say that they weren't proven.
No, about Callum Smith. Callum Smith was, to be honest, he was the number one at 175.
Yeah, he was. No, not at 175, at 168.
Yeah, but he hadn't fought really anyone.
168. Sorry.
They weren't proven. We can say they weren't proven. They weren't proven.
I think he was.
He fought Groves, but he was past his. You know what I'm saying? Not knocking Callum, but he didn't really fight like those other guys like Plant and
they were champions.
Benavidez. No. But George Groves was like past it too. Yeah.
Past it.
I think he retired.
There's pros and cons with it.
He'd already fought Chris Eubanks. He already fought James DeGale.
Carl Froch twice.
He was out of the. He was past it. And I mean, and then Callum Smith had also no business being at 168. And I always said he better get his ass to 175, which he did, because he's like 6'3". Right. So you don't want to say, because of the height of Bivol, that's what beat. Callum Smith is 6'3". It's the skill set. It's the power.
Why the hell is Callum Smith not fighting? Like, when's his next fight? That's crazy.
Oh, he did fight, and he knocked the dude out in 2 rounds.
No, that was last year. There was fight, man.
Yeah,
there was no clear.
There's sorry, sis. Yeah, I just don't think 168 had the greatest level of champion. Is that Canelo's fault? No, he just fought who he needed to fight to get the belts.
It was there at the time. That's it. Yeah,
but it just proves. But go ahead, sis.
It wasn't the same 168 as when they had the Super 6. Not that level of talent. No.
Yeah.
But I get it. Callum Smith won that fight by default. Something happened with what's his name's? He got hurt when he fought Eubank Jr., right? George Groves. And then he came in there and then he fought Callum Smith. So I'm not taking anything away from Callum Smith, but it wasn't the same level of competition when it was Carl Froch, Kessler, Ward, and all of those guys.
Sparrow Jack as well beat George Groves as well, isn't it?
Kovalev, people say, Teddy was taking a risk. No, he wasn't. He was fighting an older, washed-up fighter who had just fought a couple months earlier and against Yardy, almost got knocked out by Yardy, and then he had to come back quick on short notice and fight this fight. And he's an older guy. He's a guy who had already been beaten, Kovalev, and he's a guy, do you want to know the truth? He's got some quid in him. People are going to love that, right? Well, he's got some quid, Kovalev, because he quit against Ward in the second fight. He did. He got broken down. He quit. And now he fought him where he almost beat him in the first fight, but then he quit against Ward in the second fight, body punch, everything. But he gave in. And then you put into the facts that he made a lot of money.
Teddy calls him Yardy. Teddy, it's Yard. It's Anthony Yard. The E is silent. Yardy, like a come out of Jamaica, Yardy. No, it's just Yard.
The right way. Congratulations to your manager, to everybody, your trainer. You people stood up and you were special on a special night. You had to be. And you were. Against all odds and against 3 judges and against the commission and against a sport. I always say this, Ken. I don't give a freak. I think that's part of our popularity, that I say the truth, and we both do, and you stand behind it and with me. That we say what we believe, and I base it on experience, not just on something I wake up in the morning with. But that we're going to say things that some people are going to find unpopular, not like, and that in some ways hurts me. I mean, there's a reason why I'm not calling fights anymore on TV. I mean, I think
not in some way, Teddy. It absolutely comes back to hurt you when you tell the truth, and people don't like to hear it.
But there are people that like to hear it, and I'm there for those people. A guy like Canelo brings a lot of revenue to a lot of people. He brings money to the obviously to the venue, to the area around that venue, to the casinos. They're not open if there's not fights. Profitable fights, enough profitable fights in the area. Canelo's a big part of that. So they have to be aware of that. They have to be understand who allows the party to keep going, who allows them to have a job. People like Canelo. There's other fighters, but it's significantly even the judges. Fight. Like, they know they're not going to get selected as a judge. That do you think promoter can keep them out. There's a way to keep them out, and they're not going to be selected to work. And if you're a judge, you got to work. If they don't get it right on certain nights, when the big guy is fighting, whether it's Canelo or some other big guy.
Fight was over, right? Like, Canelo was still, it's like his demeanor was like he thought that he was going to be given the decision because he raised his hand. Then, like, when the decision was announced, he shook his head. He shook his head and just walked away, like he was, disgusted. And I'm like, oh, this bro, he really thought that, like, this was going to go his way. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, he's reached the step, like, where he's become, like, very spoiled and egotistical and, like, very just, entitled. You know what I mean? It's like, sorry, bro, the judges didn't bail you out this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shouts out to Coach Malachi. He had to go. Guys, Coach Malachi goes live 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on New Media Today, USA Boxing. If you're already subscribed, go check him out. It's a fun show. Really fun show.
Also, in addition, one of CHANN's channels, one of the best out there too, as well. So yeah, and subscribe to that one. So yeah, so but Canelo, it's like so sorry, Canelo. The judges didn't save your ass this time. You know what I mean? So now going forward, you're gonna have to actually put forth some efforts and fights, which shocked me because I thought they'd rob Bivol. They tried, and I thought they would, but luckily the right man did get the nod at the end of the day. So I mean, as far as Eddie and Canelo's relationship, might cause some tension there, maybe, just maybe. I mean, I think what Canelo needs to do is really just take a look back and reflect. And
there's nothing Eddie Hearn can do. I don't know what Canelo is expecting from Eddie Hearn, bro. I don't get it. Whenever people lose, or why do they have to always attack if Eddie Hearn did something, there's boxing. You could have went in the fucking ring and did it and beat him properly rather than stealing it from a man.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but they going after the. Oh, I'm sorry. They going at.
I wanted to hear from Kenny because sometimes you don't get to hear from him.
Guys, the judge, whatever, because you gotta, just like if you're gonna pull off a heist, you gotta have inside guys. You gotta have some inside guys to pull the heist off. It's gotta be well organized. You can't do it alone. So let's just say, I don't know. But let's just say, conspiracy theory, we'll call it that, make everyone happy. All right, so now you go and you got your guys, right? The judges, right? Or somebody that influenced them or told them or whatever. And, maybe they...
The Great Heist. And we will have to continue this because this is some proper insight of what judges think and how this is corrupted in favour of the favourite fighter. Back to Teddy.
Just no. I don't know. sometimes things happen. Maybe they just know. They know from the past when I didn't vote for the house fighter, the promoter's fighter, I didn't get any work for a year and a half. I don't want that to happen again. I don't know. So anyway, so they get there and they say, okay, we're all going to get together and give 4 rounds, the first 4 rounds. Now, some of this craziness, I'm going to explain it to you people out there. Stay with me, because there's a method to my madness. So you're going to give 4 rounds straight. Why 4, Teddy? Doesn't that look suspicious? The opposite. The opposite. Because people will say, and the commentators, they said it. They said, well, you got to say one thing. All the judges were consistent. They all voted the same. So that makes you feel better. Oh, yeah. It couldn't have been fixed. They all saw it the same way. That's called an alibi. That's called the alibi. Okay. Now, let's get to the latex gloves. Because you don't want to leave fingerprints. You want to get away with it. So now you got the 4 straight rounds, Kenneth. You got the 4 straight rounds given to Canelo, the guy who you want to win. Now, why did you give 4 straight? Well, here's one possible reason. In boxing, if there's a unintentional headbutt or whatever, elbow or whatever the hell it is, that forces one fighter not to continue, and it happens in the first 4 rounds. The magic number. It happens in the first 4 rounds, Kenneth. Because I thought he'd get it. But I did say when you asked me in the fight plan, here's the odds, which you always do. What do you think? And I said, hey, it's worth taking a shot with the odds, because this guy's the most legitimate fighter he's fought. And I'm going to explain that. I know he cleaned out the 168s and all this stuff, but he did it against guys with undefeated records, but undefeated records against really who? They were built-up guys. I don't care if you like it.
Manufactured records.
I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. There was a reason why I said Canelo was going to knock both those, whether it was Saunders, whether it was Plant, that he was going to win both those fights by stoppage. Because I understood. They weren't, I'm not knocking them, but they weren't as good. They had nothing to beat Canelo with. They weren't as good as their record. Their record was good. And they could sell. And sure enough, the press went along with it. Everybody went along. Oh, yeah. You got to give him credit. He's taking a risk. He's taking a risk. Look at these guys. He's taking a risk. No, I'm going to tell you another thing that's going to give you agita. He wasn't taking a risk. The last time he took a risk was when he fought Triple G. He has not taken a risk with any of those fights in reality. I'm not talking about what you think and what the press thinks. I'm telling you about the reality of how good they are. He was not fighting anyone who could legitimately beat him since Triple G until this night. This was the first time he was fighting somebody legitimate where he really was taking a risk. I give him credit for it. I think he got himself so delusional, Canelo, that he might not have realized what a risk he was really taking. I know it's confident, he's a champion, I get it. And he's a special, I get it. But I really think that with everything that was being done for him, and he's winning, he's doing his part too, that he underestimated Bivol as far as, no excuse for the fight. He was prepared. But he underestimated him, at least mentally, for what Bivol really was. He didn't realize that this time he was taking a risk.
Teddy comes more with the great heist. This is just the great heist. Stand by.
A round, Bivol, are you kidding me? In the first 4 rounds? Oh my God. I mean, he got those jams didn't count. He got ahead in that fight. He got ahead. That was part of the plan, fam. Get ahead, build confidence, get ahead, make the other guy catch up, make him make mistakes, make him fight from behind. That was the plan. They were executing that plan, except the judges weren't going along with it. So here they are. So they even it up because you got to make it look like you have good intentions. You're doing your job. So bang, all in one stroke. I got to laugh. In concert. Oh my goodness. They give 4. I'm sorry. I just crack up. They give 4 straight rounds now. It's even. Oh, it's even. So later on, when they come in there, when the forensics people come in dusting for fingerprints, they won't find any. So now you got it an even fight 4-4. Now what's the next move? Put your guy ahead. Put him ahead slightly, but put him ahead. Okay. So now the next round, the 9th, which he legitimately might have won. I can't remember. There was a round I thought he probably could have won, that he won. But anyway, that he fought better, put it that way. And I thought he probably could have won. But anyway, so now you all go and you give the 9th round to break the tie. You got your guy ahead. Now you got your guy ahead. You know what? You kept your guy in a fight that wasn't close. You did your job. You did your freaking job. Your dishonest job, but you did your job. You got your guy ahead going into the championship rounds. You think that's a coincidence? No, I don't. All right.
But Teddy, to your point, these are professional judges. They showed up and acted professionally, professionally dishonest, but that's how you do it. Hey, we're committing a crime. Don't be an idiot. Be professional.
100%.
Do your job.
Well, that's a good point, Ken. So they're undeterred. So now they did their job. They got their man ahead going into the championship round. Now here's the thing that went astray. Went a little haywire from the plan. Now it's up to your guy, the goose, the golden goose. It's up to him to do his part. Bring it home. Because if you do any more here, when you already acknowledge it's not a close fight. See, that's the key you got to keep in your head. It shouldn't be this close. It should not be this close this late, honestly. It shouldn't be anything but this. Anything but this. But they did their job. They kept an unclose fight close down the stretch. Like that same day as the Derby. Down the stretch. You got to be close. Down the stretch. So they keep and here it is. They got it close, and now it's up to Canelo to bring it home because they gave him the lead. Even though he didn't earn it, they gave it to him. And guess what? He couldn't get it home. Bivol won the rounds too clear, too, especially considering. Now remember this, guys.
Everyone's chopping it up, and AJ made a good point of that. Canelo almost expects judges to swing it his way, and he was either really in his mind thinking he won that because he knew the judges were going to swing it his way anyway, or it was just for bravado and he didn't really feel that he won it. But what connected is what I saw Teddy Atlas break this shit down. I can't play the full clip of it because he went in depth and it was amazing. So go and check out Teddy Atlas's podcast on YouTube. It just kind of matched what AJ was saying about the delusions of grandeur. So stand by. Atlas just talks it 100%. Now, I don't always agree with everything that Teddy Atlas says, but I know. But a lot of the stuff I love when he's always truthful and straight down the middle and blunt, and hence that's why people like himself and the Paulie Malignaggi's. You know, they get removed from the positions that they were originally in because, you know, they want they want commentators to blow smoke up certain fighters' asses. And Teddy Atlas, this was just perfection of this breakdown. It was honestly, guys, perfection. And we just shared the same sentiments, because my life was before this of what Atlas had put out, and what, as you could hear, what we was all saying in the live. And Canelo hasn't taken any risks since Triple G, who I had the first fight. I had Canelo winning 2 rounds in that first Triple G fight, so it was 10 rounds to 2. And then on the second Triple G fight, I had it 114, a draw. So, in my opinion, has Canelo ever beaten Triple G at all? On my records and my cards, no. And it's just funny to hear Teddy Atlas mirror the same sentiments of what I've said and what AJ said and what Lisa said, what you heard everybody on my panel say. And we can't all just be saying it just for the fact of saying it. I mean, there has to be some. There's no smoke without fire, is there? And they was out to rob Bivol. Canelo is used to getting the decisions. He's used to literally being in fights where he knows he's going to win. Hence why he's never taken a risky fight since Triple G. See, the level of opposition were weak, the champions, because then, as a day later, Teddy Atlas says the same thing of what I said on the panel, that those champions, no fault of Canelo's, but they were choices that was a run that could be made to make sure that he absolutely could beat them. And I had him beating all of them on my predictions. All of them. And it panned out as so. So I want you guys to watch my live in its entirety or whatever. Maybe start at like the 1 hour 20 mark, where we really get into that bit, or 1 hour 10, 1 hour, go from 1 hour 15. And then watch Teddy Atlas's podcast. And it's just crazy to see Teddy Atlas just say basically the same. I mean, always being gifted or decisions. Everyone would always say you can't beat Canelo on the cards. Well, you should be able to. If you've won, you've won. And as Teddy says, Bivol came to win, and the fix was in, bars. They tried to rob the poor lad. And I think this has highlighted us seeing the downside of the Canelo Alvarez reign. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he an all-time great? Yes. But there's buts in there, and there's asterisks in there. And, yeah, we just got to keep the same energy. So, shouts out to my panel. Shouts out to Teddy Atlas. He done the damn thing. I'm actually going to watch his breakdown again. That's how epic it was. So, anyway, I'm gone. Hey, girl, it's LadyChann, none less. Come box with Shan. Gyan! There you have it, people. The great Heist was in the building. Gyan!